Hello, hello everyone. Welcome back to Misfits Racing League action. It is Monday, and you know what that means? It is the beginning of a new race week, and with that, a new circuit to visit. And well, joining me for the action for Tier 4 Racing, Mr. Unicorn, it's Spa.
Yes, Jeff, thank you. We are back here at Spa. Obviously, we had the endurance race not too long ago here at Spa and the very iconic circuit. Obviously, we saw a little bit of rain in that one. We'll see whether weather dynamics will take hold in this one as well. But as it stands, an exciting week of racing ahead. Tier 4 going to kick us off as usual.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very exciting evening of racing as we have not just the Tier 4 division on today's agenda, but we also have the Great America's Tier 2 division as well, and I'll be looking very, very much forward to that as I'll be commentating that as well later on this evening. Of course, 19 turns here around Spa, 7 kilometers. We recently saw this circuit in not only our endurance series, but the Formula One World Championship. However, not as much of the circuit as we would have liked given the wet weather conditions, and well, we could just very well have our own potential for wet weather conditions as we have dynamic weather setting here in the MRL. Of course, round 4 next week, we move on through to the Temple of Speed in Monza. It's the Italian Grand Prix for round 5. After that, Japan, Britain, we have Azerbaijan, Hungary, Singapore, France, as well as Spain, Austria, the penultimate round in Mexico, and then the grand finale of the Season 5 thrilling season action in Brazil. I'm very, very much excited for all of these circuits as we push through racing. Of course, with that, we're just about ready to go racing, but we can't go into racing without taking a look at the great standings here. Polypunk, 51 points, tied with, well, Grenade Garan in the Haas. It's a very tight championship as Disaster has had two very, very narrow race finishes in the last 2 rounds, and we'll have to see how things play through for him in round 4. Jones there in 4th position, 27 points to his name. Big Turbina rounding out the top 5. Ferrari, 70 points to their constructor in this championship. Haas with 51, and of course Grenade with all of those. Mr. Daz, 48 points, is the sole holder over at Alfa Romeo as well, and that is how the constructors shape up, just the same as the drivers. So a very, very intense championship we have ourselves here. A couple ties between Kane and Fabry, as well as Kieran and Lars, but well, this race will hopefully break those.
Yeah, absolutely. You do love to see, though, the tight battling that we do have in the championship already. That highly contested P1, obviously tied right now between Polypunk and Grenade, with that Daz right behind them. So, well, as it stands, it could go all the way to the end. You don't want to see a breakaway too early from just one driver, but we got 3 gunning for that title here in Tier 4, and obviously there's still a couple of people in that chasing pack as well who could, catch up at some point over the next coming weeks. And well, it takes one bad race and you drop back through, you miss out on a full 25 potential points. But we'll see how things shape up after Spa here this evening.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see that roll of the dice, to see if weather comes in and really significantly impacts things. We've seen some wet races in the past couple of rounds. We saw it in Netherlands. We saw it in Russia. I want to see if that really plays a role here in Spa, a circuit where a lot of these drivers, I think, are comfortable, but I think it's some certain conditions and certain situations that are going to make them uncomfortable very fast should they come through. Big shout out to Mr. Larkin. Greatly appreciate your subscription. Thank you so much for the Prime, and thank you to everybody tuning in. Of course, if you're just tuning in, we're just about set to go into 18 minutes of qualifying here in Spa. My name's Shrifium. Joining me is Unicorn, and we're really, really excited to kick off this week of racing for the Belgian Grand Prix. Waiting on, I think, one more driver at the moment.
Yeah, just waiting on that one more driver to try and get ourselves a full 20 driver grid. If we don't, not the end of the world going with 19, of course, but try our best to get a full grid here. But as it stands, 19 already raring to go as it stands. And like you said, that roll of the dice, we'll see. I'm sure all of them are hoping for dry weather. It just makes things a lot easier. Probably got a better setup for that sort of conditions, but wet weather, we haven't seen it too much throughout the season. We've seen it here and there, probably more already than last season, but it does, give a few drivers who are better in those conditions a bit more of an opportunity.
Well, I'm really keen to see if I'm not mistaken, it's 22 laps the distance around today's race, a 50% distance campaign around Spa. We've seen so many dynamic Belgian Grand Prix races through the history of the MRL, and I'll say this, some of those really have not been the most idealistic races. Those races have come off in ways in which I think a lot of people would consider quite bizarre. There's a lot of crashing in some of those races. Certain at them. Just who it is we're waiting for.
I think we might have to go with 19, unfortunately, for the time being. Obviously, there's always the opportunity for someone to join during qualifying if they do become available, but right now 19 drivers is what we're going to start things off with, so we can get going here in a reasonable sense of time and near enough on the hour.
Just getting all the drivers readied up now into 18 minutes of qualifying. And we'll be into session in just a few moments. The intensity, I'm actually impatient for this race. That's how excited I am for Spa. I really enjoy this track. I think everybody enjoys this track. It's such a flowing circuit, especially up through that thrilling, stunning Eau Rouge Rédillon complex of Sector 1. May have an issue with the lobby. We're just gonna get things sorted out here really quick as well. No big issue. All right, so we are just going to get that lobby restarted and reformed really quick as we had some kind of lobby setting issue. And with that, we'll get all the drivers back in. We'll jump into qualifying action and we'll get the race underway. Greatly appreciate everybody's patience. All right, if all drivers can get back into the lobby at their quickest possible convenience, that would be greatly appreciated so we can get this going. I know some of the drivers are paying attention and listening to the stream, so let's make it a quick process. We're just getting lobby settings dialed in. We are not going to be re-rolling the weather. We just want to make sure we get some kind of weather in stated, as the drivers have made us aware it was going to be a dry campaign. Again, thank you everybody for your patience while we get things sorted. It's not often these things happen, but of course they are, well, they do happen, and we're prepared for it when they do, and it's no big deal, as we weren't into any qualifying yet, we weren't into any racing yet, and so we just get things reset and we jump into racing, and it's all good here. So hopefully you're all ready for some qualifying action in Spa, followed by some great racing in this Tier 4 division. As we've been told, it's going to be dry running.
Yeah, apologies everyone for the delay, but yeah, we're going to get everything sorted out now and make sure that everything is as it should be.
All right, if we can get everybody into their cars, that would be excellent. Some drivers failing to get into their cars, however, readied up. Not sure how you get there, but yeah.
There we are. We're just waiting on the last person to reconnect to the lobby, and then I think we are ready to go here once again. Again, sorry for the delay, ladies and gents. I'm not quite sure what happened to the first lobby, but I think we are now getting everyone back in.
If anybody has contact with Kane, Gichvan, or Shadrin, and you can let them know they are required to select their cars, that would be greatly appreciated. Alrighty. It looks like we finally got ourselves into vehicles. And now that we have done so, hopefully we can get some wheels turning here into qualifying.
Yeah, a bit of a weird one there. But we are ready now to go into qualifying, get ready to go racing here at Spa. Albeit a little bit late. But we will get a race. And that's what we're all here for. As everyone readies up, and we've got the countdown clock on in the lobby.
Alrighty.
All right, so we are now into the 18-minute qualifying session. Better late than never, and of course, Spa, probably the longest track on the calendar in terms of lap time, and as such, that means it's a little bit less forgiving here in qualifying, where you want to be putting in or have as many attempts as you can, obviously tire permitting, but here, if you mess up one run, you don't always get the opportunity to go around again. You have to choose to come into the pits, and realistically you expect really 3 runs out of all the cars. You can't get that 4th run in if you need to redo one even with an invalidation. There's plenty of corners around here to invalidate or indeed spin on as well. We do have 19 drivers in the lobby.
Always great to see all the drivers in as well. Finally now, we got our stats man. I just wanted to interrupt you there for a second, George. We got our stats man, Mr. Starsja, in the chat. If anyone's looking for any fantastic facts about the Belgian circuit, you can tag him in the chat this evening. He's a great guy to go and look for some information from. And one great thing to note as well, if he can record, thankfully for me, that our new record for selection of a car has been approached about 8 minutes due to Mr. Sadrin in the Red Bull. Greatly appreciated. Thanks, Mr. Stars.
Well, I think the delay, obviously we usually see it's ended. I don't know, it was a very long one, but Grenade Goran is out on track, and it's been a while since we've had a car on the track, but here we are finally around Spa. The Haas driver first out on track, and he's tied for lead of things up at the top of the rankings of the Drivers' Championship with Polypunk, and both here today, both already out on track. The Ferrari not too far behind the Haas driver. He is coming down into Lacon, but it's Grenade coming through turn 10 now. And we'll see what sort of time he can put on the board. Like I mentioned, you want to get out early here because you don't have too much time in this session. We're already down on the clock, of course, given the desync. But even if you add a minute, we're already a minute and a half in. And that is, around...
A little bit of a... Are you getting the rubber band that I'm getting with the Haas? Just out of curiosity, I get a little bit of rubber banding. It always corrects itself at some point. But when I'm in spectator view, we get a little bit of a hey, how you going effect. But of course, Grenade will be the first driver to set a potential lap here in Spa, excuse me, as we have 19 fantastic drivers on the grid. About 15 minutes remaining.
Yeah, everything looks pretty okay on my end, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Hopefully his connection is okay, but Grenade Goran going wide through the final corner to line himself up as best as possible to go down into turn one. La Source, of course, here at Spa, touching the apex there and then going all the way to the outside, not really touching the curb though, as he comes down, hugging the pit wall here as he fires up through into Eau Rouge Rodillion in the Haas. Very tricky set of corners to get right here in the dry. They'll be thankful for it, because that's even harder in the wet as he comes down the Kemmel Straight now, coming out of sector 1, just under 30 seconds there, and into Les Combes 7, 8 and 9. Plenty of overtaking through here we're in for this evening as he comes out of night down towards turn 10. And it's this long right hander, just getting it all the way around, switching it back to the right hand side to set it up for turn 11, using all of the curb on the exit and keeping one wheel on that sort of green tarmac on the outside there, just save as much time as possible on this lap, then through full on this long left hander, very, very fast, and then firing it down into 13, 14 and 15 to end out sector 2. And this is a long lap already. We're well over the 1 minute 13 mark, and that's longer than a lap around Zandvoort, which we had not too long ago in the Endurance Series. Now into the final sector through Blanchimont, this fast left-hander, turn 17 into turn 18 now, and just firing down to the last 2 corners, the famous bus stop chicane at the end of the Spa lap, into 19 through into 20 here, taking it a lot tighter than before. Doesn't need the run down into turn 1, just needs to get to the line as quickly as possible, and there it is, a 1:41.537 to open up the timing for tonight.
Yeah, a very solid run there from Grenade. It'll be his teammate and the partner Haas to actually come through and set the second lap of the session to the line. We'll see what he's able to do. Matt now will jump him. It's a 41.391, and considering how fast we saw Grenade go, Polypunk a 41.035. Things getting very competitive early on here as Trick Sam goes fourth quickest to 42.5. He's done that on the medium compound tire. Many other drivers coming through to the line as well, as Jones, 4-door, 4 and 6 respectively. 41.833 out of the Mercedes.
Yeah, that Polypunk right now, very, very quick lap time from him, and is 4/10 faster, pretty much, than Matt, and he's the closest rival, and you got half a second to Grenade Goran.
Lars goes fourth quickest. His teammate Blind goes 10th quickest. More drivers now coming to the line. We're going to see a Ferrari shoot into 11th. That's Papa. Hi, DJ. Next to round out of the final turn now, he will go 7th quickest in the Alpha Tauri. Good run there from him. And he mentioned Spa, some of the circuits coming ahead now in the season after Russia. More of these circuits starting to cater to his driving style a bit better, to his likes and things of a kind. Kieran goes, well, he went 7th quickest, but Big Turbina bumps him back as the Red Bull goes 3rd fastest.
Yeah, nice lap time from him there. I don't know what happened to him on that lap. He might be going again here, Striff, but he was in the grass coming through the final sector, and that's a bit of a bizarre place to be in the grass. It didn't look like he'd spun, didn't look like he'd had a crash. It just looked like he'd misjudged the corner a little bit. And that is very bizarre, but he's going around again, it would seem, just coming through Les Combes right now, out through turn 9. But hopefully for him, he's got whatever that is sorted out. He's currently 15th. For the bottom 4, though, Striff, this is very late to leave your first run here at Spa. You know, it's near enough a 2-minute lap time. So you expect to be out on track for just over 5 minutes every time you go for just one fast lap, because obviously you got to factor in the in lap and the out lap, and that means they've given away any opportunity they've got of doing 3 runs on separate tires, and that can harm them as we come through. But maybe trying to reserve a set of slots for the race, potentially expecting safety cars, of course. But Very bizarre to see them waiting out along Super Noodle Bagel. Well, he is out on track now in the AlphaTauri, but we'll see where Kane lands himself first with this much more competitive looking lap time than he's going to produce here. He does just have enough fuel. The fuel light is blinking, but he should make it to the end. Coming through the final corner now out of the bus stop chicane. DRS open and to the line. Where does he go? He goes fifth fastest at 141.562, just behind Grenade Goran and the big Tabina there. So nicely done for the McLaren, and he's rectified the mistakes he had on that initial lap.
Yeah, solid run there, of course, from Mr. Kane. And one thing to note, we have our great statistician, Mr. Starj, coming through, talking about the Ferrari on provisional pole. Just like in real life, the Ferrari's quite strong here. They have taken 14 wins around this iconic circuit here in Spa. Thank you to Mr. Stars for the throwback to the history of the iconic prancing horses. Papa, invalidated coming down the hill.
Yeah, he's already put a couple laps on those mediums, so
Just
a lot of
getting
the
a
time you
run
might
out.
see that if they have the opportunity to do so. Here at Spa, though, the long lap time, not something I would recommend going for extended stints in the early stages of qualifying. Super Noodle Bagel, he's about to start his first flying lap of the session here. And again, taking that wide line on the outlet that we do see, and almost stepping over the edge there of the last corner. You don't want to have this and next lap invalidated. That message really causing a pain. A little bit wide coming through turn one.
This is where it really gets daring coming up this hill.
Yeah, now onto the Camel Straight for him, and we'll see where he lands with sort of the first sector time. It was just under 30 seconds for Grenade Goran. It's just under 30 seconds for Super Noodle here as he comes through. No points so far scored in the season for the AlphaTauri, but we'll see if he can rectify that here tonight.
A lot of yellow flags being popped up right now. Someone has had an issue just on the Camel Straight, it would appear. If not, just pulling off for fast movers. Not too many fast movers at the moment, though.
Yeah, at that point where, we're in the middle section of the qualifying, and obviously the outlaps take a while as Super Noodle Bagel does invalidate, just stepping out wide at Stavalo, and he'll be annoyed about that. And this is the risk you take, leaving it to last minute. Disaster isn't too far behind in the Alfa Romeo. He's having a great championship
Super
so
Noodle
far.
dropped it. He invalidated it. That's just unfortunate.
Here comes Daz through the final couple of corners. And he goes sixth fastest at 141.613.
Solid run there. Very solid run. Undertaker, his teammate to the line, will go ninth quickest. Very good run. 42.092 from Undertaker. Chadreen on the move in the Red Bull. He's on the medium compound tires. One of two drivers without a time set here on the board. He's just coming through sector one with a little bit of a drift off the inside curb.
Yeah, a lot of drivers are on flyers now, and we'll have to see how all these drivers come through. Polypunk flying is currently provisional pole. I believe that was a Grenade with a slight improvement there. We'll see whether Polypunk can do the same. He was up through the first two sectors of the Ferrari, now coming down to the line. And it is a faster lap by 1.5 tenths almost, and it's a 140.90 for the first person to go sub 141. And that is quite the advantage he has at the top right now, 4 tenths clear of the two Haas drivers.
Here comes Chadrin now, medium compound. He goes 16th now, 43.513. Only one driver yet to set a time. It was Super Noodle Bagel. We had him running for a while. Let's see who we can jump on with, who is next to come through to the line. Potentially one of the Williams drivers. I think it's Lars. Wing open to the line. Third quickest here. 41.258 now, improving. Teammate Blind not improving.
Undertaker was valid, but comes into the pits. MVP Kieran invalid, and also comes into the pit lane again. Coming back to that point about if you invalidate, make no mistake, you have to come into the pit sometimes just to get the fresh set of tires. You cannot afford to go around again because of the lack of time in the session compared to how long it takes to do a full lap of the circuit here.
DJ now starting a lap. We just saw Matt improve by quite the margin. 41.036 is where he's presently sitting on the rear of Polypunk with the 40.9. The front row looking quite fast right now. DJ, he started off this session with a 7th quickest time. We'll see what he's able to do as he's been bumped to 9th. We have a 20th driver making it into the session now. That'll be Mr. Beccario. Sam, 49.29. Second driver in the session to jump into the 40.9s, and man oh man, is that a margin to Polypunk. It's 25 hundredths of a second the separation.
Yeah, things starting to tighten up as they always do as we get through the session. Just waiting now on the last lap. Super Noodle Bagel is going to go again. The AlphaTauri, one of 2 drivers now, as Beccario joins us, a late minute reserve joining, so take it to him for filling out the grid. So we've got 20 drivers for the race, but he does not have long to get a lap time in. He might be able to do it. He should be able to, depending on how quickly he connects to the lobby. But a big shout out to all of our reserves here, but Beccario there filling in.
Here comes DJ through the bus stop chicane. And he's not happy. Not happy. Low fuel. Maybe I was mistaken and it was actually his outlap. I could very well have been mistaken. Would not be the first time. Kane is pushing. Or is he on an in-out? No, he's got a low fuel. You tell me who we're flying with.
Well, I was flying with Super Noodle Bagel, but he's invalidated through Lake Holm, and this is really bad news for the AlphaTauri because he has basically got one shot now to do this. We're going to have to go to the Aston Martin, I think, of Baklu. Again, another reserve there over at the Aston Martin squad, so neither of the full-time drivers present tonight for the Aston Martin's crew, and we'll just see what the reserve has done. 1:42.2, his current best time. He's 2/10 up through sector 1, though. Much needed improvement through there, and this could see him fly up into the top 10 if he continues to find improvement like that as he comes now through turn 10. A little wide there on the entrance, but power out early through into turn 11, and we'll see how this goes for the reserve as he flies down towards 4 on this fast left-hander, just easing off the throttle and then putting it back on as early as you dare. Down towards turn 13 now. And ideally, you do want to be in the top 10. You can see no one opting for the mediums. We saw it a little bit earlier on, but
yeah, just
realistically, the lap is so long, you really have to go for the soft. So getting position is everything here. Strategy sort of out the window here in the qualifying. You have to just go on the soft tires through out of Blanchimont through into turn 18. Just 2 more to go for the Aston Martin reserve as we hurtle down into the bus stop chicane. Very nicely done through 19, through 20 as well. No problems for him. A 1:42.2 to beat his personal best. A 1:41.4. It's a huge 7.5 improvement, and that is P8 for him at the time being.
Good run. Good run there. He'll be happy with that, I think. And we have Papa on an out lap. Polypunk is about to begin a lap. Chadrin and Big Turbina, both Red Bulls, are about to begin. Beccario looks like he's getting set to go on a lap. We don't have the out lap indicator, but he is with full battery at the moment. So the second Aston Martin this evening will be starting. There's been an issue for one of the McLarens. That's Canet pulled off.
Second time I've seen him off through there, and I wonder whether that's just a unorthodox way of getting out of people's way on an in-lap. Potentially out of fuel in the McLaren. He does seem to be very slowly trundling back to the pit lane, so that might be the case there. As we come through, Super Noodle Bagel. Is this his first lap time? It is. A 1:42.149, so 14th place to the AlphaTauri, who has been struggling to post a lap time on the board all evening. He leaves just Becario now as the only driver to set a lap time, but like you said, pole sitter right now. Polypunk 1:40.9. His best time. He has started to become contested from Trixam and Matt, but he is ahead right now. He's actually down coming out of sector 1, but we'll see what he can do as he comes out of sector 2. Has he found the time here? Yes, he has. Down 1 and a bit tense here as Backlu gets a 5-place grid penalty. So all that work to get into the top 10. As Trixam is going to get... There's been a huge crash, actually. They've both come together in quite spectacular fashion, having to wait off of the track outside of turn 18.
There was an AI there, controlled car of the Aston Martin, just outside on the shoulder. Polypunk's dropping this lap. I saw something else quite interesting. I think everybody will be interested to see. And well, Big Turbina right now, he's about to cross this line. Look right behind him, though. Actually, Shadrin invalidated. We were coming through turn 1, not turn 1, sector 1. Turbina goes 6th quickest. CXP's taking a DSQ for going the wrong way. And that's not good. He was probably letting traffic by.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate.
Oh my God. I don't know who that was.
That is so unfortunate for whoever's XXP car just hit there. XXP really not at fault there. He spun coming out of turn 11 and was facing the wrong way in that little straight between 11 and Fuon.
I don't know
had to wait
who
for everyone
hit
to
him.
come through. And I think it was the Mercedes of Jones.
Well, there's no visible
I'm not seeing
damage. I was looking at him as well. DJ? No, he's too far along. Super Noodle was too far behind, I think, or very at least ahead. Wow. I don't know what that I don't. So I think from my account of it, just how it happened, it looked like XTXP maybe had a bit of an issue, spun the car. He's sitting there. It's a high volume section of circuit right at that moment. He's waiting for traffic to move. He gets dinged for going the wrong way by the AI out of our control. His AI car starts to do some procedures to get back on track, and next thing you know, you have one of these cars flying through a yellow flagged section of circuit, dinging him.
Yeah, very unlucky for all of those drivers. Really nothing XXP could have done better in that situation. He just held where he was. I don't even think he was driving the wrong way, just facing the wrong way, and the game's punished him as a result, which is unfortunate. It's such a horrible situation to be in, because if he'd have crashed the car and it had been out of the session, he would have actually been better off. But obviously, nothing we can do to change that now, as we're just waiting for the qualifying to end out. And there we go, the final person getting back to their pit box. But what a wild end to the qualifying there. Hopefully things a little bit calmer in terms of off-track drama, but on-track drama we want there. Polypunk starts pole ahead of, well, it'll be Matt joining him on the front row after Trixam has picked up a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with a backlow, which he has also received the 5-place grid penalty. So he'll start down his 16th, but it'll be Matt on the front row alongside Polypunk, and then Grenade Goran in the other Haas will start third behind his teammate. So P2 and P3 for the Haas squad. Disaster starts 5th in the Alfa Romeo. Papa starts 6th in the Ferrari. Then we have Lars, Big Tavina, Canet, and Jones rounding out our top 10. And we'll see how everything comes together in the race in just a moment. We've got 2 seconds left on the clock here in qualifying, and then, of course, into the 50% race. The very low in terms of the lap count, complete opposite to what we had last week in Zandvoort. 36 laps there. But here it will be a lot less than that. But the race still just as long, Striff.
Yeah, it's a long race. I mean, Duration wise, you're still getting a cracking event of a race here. Lap wise, it does not seem as long. 22 laps is the duration of the campaign. We had Russia, which was 27. Before that, we had the Netherlands, which was 36. It's been a good chunk of different races that we've had so far here for round 4 now. Thrilled to see how we go around this iconic circuit now that all 20 of these cars are on the grid. We're about to jump into formation. It's clear skies ahead of us as well. We're not expecting any rain. Polypunk on pole position, followed by 2 Haas drivers and then Mr. Disaster. And we've seen Disaster start off at the front end of these grids for quite a few races now. Is today the day Disaster finally gets himself a win? We saw him cross the lines in 2 races so tight to his competition. I wonder if we're finally going to see him lead out that finish and take a win here. Polypunk, of course, he's taken multiple pole positions this season. He's a very fast driver, representing the Ferraris well. Top 5 drivers are all representing Ferrari quite well right now. Pretty good to see.
Yeah, that power unit doing pretty well. The only thing that would have been holding them back is Chixam, qualifying P2, but he's been knocked down to 7th due to a grid penalty. So he won't be happy about that, but he does have some serious pace if that's to be, considered, and he might be able to cut through the grid. The game suggesting a 1-stop to hard, so the soft starters, or a soft medium. We'll see what everyone else has to say about that in terms of the strategy. 22 laps around here. Let's just go through that grid once more. The top 10 we've already been through. We'll go through it again. Polypunk starts first with Matt alongside him. His teammate Grenade Goran starts third with Disaster alongside him. And then the other Ferrari, Papa, makes it a 1-5 for the Scuderia. Then we have Lars in the Williams. Last driver to be promoted as a result of Chixam's grid penalty. He drops from 2nd to 7th. Victor Bina in between the 2 McLarens in the Red Bull with Kane, Chixam's teammate, starting 9th. And Jones rounds out the top 10. Then looking behind them, IDJ in 11th on the mediums. We'll see what the AlphaTauri can do. He's going to be joined by Undertaker on that strategy in the Alfa Romeo. Super Noodle Bagel in the other AlphaTauri starts on the soft, so he is going to try and make a position or 2 on Undertaker and his teammate. MVP Kieran starts on the mediums like the AlphaTauri and the Alfa Romeo. Then Beccario and Bacalo, the 2 Aston Martin reserve drivers, start on the softs in 15th and 16th, with 4-door sedan on the same strategy in 17th for Alpine. Then Shadrin starts ahead of Blind, and XTXP rounds out the grid, and all 3 of those drivers are on the mediums. XTXP disqualified from qualifying due to going in the wrong direction. Not his fault, but gets relegated to the rear of this grid nonetheless. And we'll see how the mediums play into this one. Only 6 drivers opting for the yellow wall compound, and they will be slower in the first stages. As we get ready here, we've got just about everyone on the grid, and we're just waiting for those lights to turn on.
Thrilling action about to unfold here. The lights are on. Well, at the very least, the engines are revving. 3, 4, 5 red lights were being shown here in the Netherlands. They've gone dark as far as our screens are concerned, but now the drivers away here in Spa. Who's that far to the inside? One of the Haas drivers as well, the Ferrari, on the inside of 2 Haas cars. No, it's the Alfa Romeo of Disaster. Grenade is there as well. Papa, now wheel to wheel. There's a car off at the rear. It's Beccario. Matt looking at Polypunk coming up through Eau Rouge. Everything is tight. This is what everyone wants to see. Papa leading the McLaren through as well. There's been a collision or a penalty being awarded. Kieran's taken a penalty. The McLarens exchange. Kieran wheel to wheel with DJ. DJ on the inside as we come through into Lacombe. It's a big lunge coming from Kieran. He's on the outside of Lars. Wow. Things have gotten really intense so quickly here, as to be expected. Couple of cars getting loose, but not too far off. Lars, Kieran under threat. Lars pushing through, taking 10th position, back from the Mercedes. DJ on the inside. He's looking for the Mercedes. It's tight. Oh man, it's wheel to wheel coming down through Poulan. Man, is DJ ever on a charge right now, still with this Mercedes. The Aston Martin Bacalou looking at all of this action in the rear. DJ on the mediums, under threat from the softs.
Yeah, some great starts to this race. Beccario, like you mentioned, came off of turn 1, and he's got past Shadrin, who came off through Eau Rouge as well, the Red Bull. No damage visibly, but has been struggling again on those medium tires as well. As for the front of the drivers, Kane, great start from him. 3 places up in the McLaren. And he got through his teammate just coming out of a roof. Very, very bold move, but his teammate was compromised. And as such, well, Kane just took full advantage of that. As we go on to the second lap of the Grand Prix, Podium 146.898 starts us off with the first and fastest lap of the event. As Baklu IDJ exchanged the mediums versus mediums. And it is the Aston Martin, sorry, the Aston Martin's on the softs versus the mediums there.
Yeah, he really needs to get on it.
Dropping up.
He really needs to just get on it, get on his horse, and push with those softs to catch this soft train. He's got limited opportunities to do this. DJ. Super Noodle Bagel, his teammate right now, being overtaken by Undertaker. And who's that? Bakalu's had an issue coming through Lacombe, and he is trying to get things turned around. He's going to drop all the way to the rear of this grid.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate there for him. As who is that? Jones has a big snap, and he comes off just where XTXP came off in qualifying. He gets an end plate flying off and spins around, so he's now facing the right way, but he's going to drop all the way down to 18th for the Mercedes, and that damage as well is going to force him to change his front wing, I do believe, and all of that.
Undertaker, big snap for the Alfa Romeo, has dropped him 3 positions here.
Oh, and who's this? The other Aston Martin, Beccario, off again. Well, he had a problem in turn 1. Now he joins his teammate at the rear of the grid after a problem coming out of 14.
Very, very intense race start. Not a lot of these racers having... Well, you look at the drivers at the back end of this grid. We're only now starting the 3rd lap. DRS is now going to be in effect. This is where we can really start to see some changes. DJ, wheel to wheel right now. Kieran, DJ around the outside of turn 1 right now on lap 3. Kieran on the inside holding things.
Very optimistic move from DJ, trying to swing around the outside like that needed really to get it a little bit tighter, but now does he have to run out of a rouge down the Kemmel straight? He's got a great run of speed. DRS is going to help him through as well, and the AlphaTauri breezes past the Mercedes into that final point scoring position.
Nicely done there from him. Here goes Undertaker with a supercharged move to the inside for the Alfa Romeo, but it's XTXP he's up against, and XTXP with a very, very nice hold there as Kieran and Super Noodle Bagel have exchanged. Super Noodle moving through on the softs. Four-door wanting a piece as well. It's Alpine versus Williams. Four-door on these softs, wanting to get through on blind, catch up to his soft runners. Poulon, not the most ideal overtaking opportunity. Blind looking at Kieran. Oh, look at the move coming out of the Alpine, but there's been a spin. Oh my, that could have been so good, but it went so wrong for Mr. Four-door Sedan.
Yeah, and risky moves, bold moves, they look good when they go right, but when they go wrong, all anyone remembers it's the mistake. As a result, Shadrin Undertaker exchanged the Red Bull up into 15th place, but Four-door Sedan again goes to the rear of the grid. And look how many posts. There's a problem in the bus stop chicane. Who is this? It's the McLaren of Kane just sliding out of the way of DJ, who goes through along with his teammate Super Noodle. They both have race now up into the points. Kieran into the pit lane. My goodness, a few drivers starting to show signs of struggle here. Inspiring, it is a difficult track, and we're only on lap 4. Plenty of time left in this race. And already there's a big split amongst the drivers. Disaster. He's got a nice run on Grenade. He's really reeling in the Haas. I don't think I'll have him here until they come, but he is getting closer to Grenade there.
The train, Trick Sam, 1.9 seconds. He's starting to close that down just a touch. We don't want to see him fight Big Turbina too much because they'll drop. What's happened
yellow
here?
Flag. It's Beccario off once more. Really, really struggling in that Aston Martin. And that was an Alpine off, I think. Yeah, it is. It's XXP spinning around. just where we saw him crash in qualifying and get DSQ'd for staying the wrong way around for too long. Spa really proving to be a challenge for some of these racers.
We had mentioned it earlier. We had mentioned that Spa can definitely present some challenges for these racers. It's a circuit that everybody loves. But for whatever reason, through our races here, we've always seen some turmoil unfold. And now we've got Disaster within half a second of Grenade Gran. And Grenade, well, in the top 3 on this championship battle. Disaster wanting to do everything he can to neutralize Grenade's edge over him right now.
Yeah, you want to just be applying the pressure. He's got a great battery advantage over the Haas, and here he comes through Eau Rouge. Is this the run? Grenade will have DRS, but he won't have such a powerful slipstream because Matt, his teammate, is going for Polypunk. He gets lead of the race. It's a lot more easy than what Disaster's going to have to pull off as he tries it. Doesn't actually go for the move, but gets very close to Grenade Gar, and I think he would have pulled that move off and he'd gone for it, but he seems happy just sitting here collecting ERS in 4th. Super Noodle exchanges with his teammate. The softs there working out better than IDJ's mediums, but both AlphaTauris still in the points.
I imagine a lot of fans are going to be happy with that. Haas leading the race. Matt getting some support in the chat there. Polypunk right now will need your energy because it is half a second the gap between him and Matt overtaking him through down out of Kemmel is seriously important for his race. He's been stuck behind the Ferrari the entirety of the campaign thus far. Disaster hunting down Grenade.
Yeah, and that fight not only for track position, not only for the race, but also for the championship as well. They got Polypunk ahead of them. Also in that, there's another yellow flag. It's XTXP again, Striff. He is really struggling here, it would seem. And again, no visible damage. So he's getting off very lightly. Disaster very tight to the rear of Grenade through the bus stop chicane. But again, you're not going to find one through there. And Papa joining the rear now and maybe causing Disaster a bit of pressure through there, as the Alfa Romeo looks to be dropping off just slightly. Lars into the pits for the Williams squad.
Do we see a move out of Papa here to really shake up this fight between Grenade and the Alfa Romeo? And I think we do. You can see the gap. You can see the battery is in utilization on the exit of Eau Rouge. The DRS now engaged. Is there enough of a defense out of the Alfa Romeo on the rear of Grenade? I think there will be here. Matt. Well, this is what we see now. Exchanges for the lead time and time again as these two have been engaged. Polypunk, this is now him back into lead of the equation. Matt led for a lap pretty well. Now back to Poly. And that DRS really strong for them, but they've got the entirety of this train behind them. And if they take too many risks or one of those situations or opportunities where they swap goes wrong, well, Grenade is the other car behind them. That's a team dynamic between the two Haas drivers.
Yeah, you need to work together. Disaster, is that the yellow flag? It is. Disaster's off. He's spun, maybe just hooked the inside of Fuon. No visible damage for the Alfa Romeo, but he does leave the battle for the podium and drops down to 7th. He's got Super Noodle and IDJ right on the rear of him, and he will be furious with himself after that, because that really seems to just rip the podium out from under his feet, unless we get a safety car. Of course, we haven't seen one yet, and we have had a fair share of yellow flags incidents around the track, but nothing warranting a safety car in the mind of the game. And to be honest, I think I would agree as well, Striff. But
here we go. Super Noodle Bagel looking at Disaster into the chicane. We've got Turbina coming into the pit lane. Here goes Super Noodle Bagel around the outside. Disaster is going to call it into the pit lane. DJ moving through as well as a result. That'll be the AlphaTauri 6 and 7 now. And I have to say, they're having a really good team drive at the moment.
And they're both just working their way through the grid, picking up on the mistakes. Obviously, pit stops coming through now. But IDJ, he's on those mediums, and he's up to 7th right now. He started on them in 11th. He's having a great race, and we'll see whether he can add to his points in the championship.
Bakaloo, 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. He is now the 3rd driver with a 3-second time penalty, as we see Shadrin and Kieran also holding 3 seconds, and those can definitely hurt you long term. We're about at that halfway point, and if a safety car should come out, the safety car here in Spa is a long safety car, a long lap around here. Speaking of Bakaloo, he took that penalty. Kieran and him getting a little bit of a dance going. And who's that there? Well, Jones says hello. He just sneaks by the pair of them. I don't think Bakaloo knew he was there.
Well, getting through, you know, when those opportunities arise, neither, well, Jones doesn't have a penalty, both Bakaloo and Kieran do, so Jones just wanted to get through there on track in this early stage. Obviously, only lap 7 of 22, plenty of time left to go in the rest of this campaign here at Spa, and everyone just biding their time, and you just got to avoid mistakes. Polypunk's going to come into the pit lane. Grenade's going to follow him as well. I don't think Matt would have been able to react, but it doesn't matter because at least Haas have covered that strategy. The problem for them is, well, Ferrari have got Matt's strategy covered as well because Papa is right behind him. 1.5 seconds, so he won't have DRS.
Super Noodle's coming in. But he's on that soft strat as well. He was not as close as those other soft runners, but he's come in. And look where IDJ is. 3rd position on the medium compound tire. This is fantastic for him. He needs to push. He's got some clean air right now. The 2 drivers in front of him are going to have to pit. He's got a massive amount of separation behind him. What's happened here? Beccario has called it, and that is in the pit lane. Very unfortunate to see that.
Yeah, here goes Disaster. Great carrier speed, but maybe too much. He's out. He's come up through Spa Strip.
That's huge. That's absolutely massive. I couldn't even see it. That's in such a high-speed section of circuit. Jones now giving us a view. Both cars off to the right as we come into Kemmel. Disaster and 4-door sedan out of this race. And I have to say, the safety car has been deployed here on lap 8. My, oh my. That is not a scene you want to see on lap 8 at all. But man, like Matt, Papa on the softs, this is good for them. DJ,
great time.
I don't know if this is the most ideal time for him though.
Not really for the AlphaTauri driver. It will sort of eat into his strategy, but there's potential here. I don't think he can. He could 2-stop from here. Soft, maybe. It would be a little bit of a stretch on the tires, but they would make the distance. Actually, with the safety car lap, they'll be protected a little bit. So they should make it, but it depends whether he wants to take the pit stop now. I think he has to, because otherwise he's going to drop through this grid with the aged tires. And he is coming in. We'll see when he goes. So I think the soft makes the most sense, because if we get another quick safety car, then he's, you know, got rid of the tire choice and he can go for whatever he wants and what works for him. Matt's gone for the hards. I don't know whether that's the right choice. Maybe not confident in the medium's ability to go to the end, but the Haas driver, well, he will come out in lead of things. And Papa will stay P2 as well. IDJ, though, well, he is dropping a little bit because he was closer to the pack.
Very unfortunate safety car situation.
And speaking of unfortunate, we were coming across in the chat to say Matt had medium selected and the game's giving him hard. So unfortunate to see that sort of error still plaguing the game, but Matt now on the hards, and hopefully this won't hurt him too much, but the pace difference between the fresh mediums and the fresh hards will be pretty bad, and as a result, that Haas will come under pressure from the 2 Ferraris and his teammate, of course, as well. But he is in lead. We'll see how well he can defend, but with the tyre disadvantage, it might not be for very long. IDJ, along with Shadrin, the only 2 drivers on the softs. We'll see whether they can use these to their advantage. The pace difference here, 2 stopping, I think, was the way. That's what I said. It seems to be what DJ thinks as well as Shadrin here, but he's got his work cut out to make this work, Jeff, and also a well-timed safety car would be ideal for him.
Yeah, I think so as well. Man, what a race this has been. We've seen some... You know what? This has been a good race, I have to say. We've seen some intense battling, some tight fighting. We had some good trains, some good duels. Unfortunate collision bringing four-door and disaster out of this race on lap 8.
Yeah, it was just so much speed coming up through a Rouge that disaster swung left very early coming out of the corner. I don't think four-door really saw it, didn't really expect it, and continued on to go to the left to take the line down into Les Combes. And well, when that happens, there's nothing either driver could do. It's too late for any corrections, and they both just careered from one wall into the other. And well, with that much contact and that speed, it's always going to end badly. And both cars terminally retiring.
Papa and Matt really tight there on the exit of 19 there. I was getting a little bit nervous. I thought one of them was going to touch, and now Blind, well, he's... How has Blind hit Super Noodlebago when Canet is between them?
That is an excellent question. I didn't see
I don't know
it.
what he's doing or what happened there.
Seems, very difficult, unlikely to do so, but the game's obviously detected something.
We're not surprised anymore.
Yeah, it could be driver error, it could be game error. We can't tell, and like you said, we wouldn't be surprised either way.
Matt, unfortunately, with a game crash, we'll hopefully get him back in under these safety car conditions. We're going to get him an invite sorted. Very unfortunate when those connection issues can play a role in these races, but I suppose this is as good a time as ever.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't cost him anything on the safety car restart, that's all that he will care about. But like you said, if you're going to disconnect, it may as well be while the car is locked at a certain speed, as there was a very big lag spike, as I'm assuming that was Matt rejoining here. And Papa appears to have gone through on the safety car. But the two Ferraris... Well, there's Matt. I think he's back in the lobby now.
Everyone's going to have to catch this safety car again. We've seen this before.
Yeah,
you need to pass that safety car. When that light goes green, it means get out of the line and pass me. And there it is, parking. It's going to wait now and catch this grid. Matt and his desync. I don't know what to say about that. They will be going around another lap behind that safety car, I do believe.
Yeah, because where they're going to connect to it, I don't think it will get called in by the time, as Kieran picks up a 3-second time penalty under the safety car. That's something that you really should be avoiding. Picking up any warnings whilst under the safety car laps, but unfortunate for him to have done so.
Alrighty here. We need to see these Ferraris catch that safety car, and that'll be our clear-cut indicator that we'll be good to go again. Otherwise, we're going to be looking at maybe a bigger issue here. But we have seen these issues happen previously. We have seen the drivers catch the safety car, and then fortunately, things kind of just go back to normal.
Yeah, that has been sort of the case that when the safety car pulls off like this, I think we saw it in Silverstone Endurance, if I'm not mistaken. Amongst other examples, but here we go. safety car in this lap. Well,
Yeah.
it is going to come in. So it just waited there, and well, the rest of this grid, IDJ needs to catch the queue and form this sort of
Yeah, he's
bridge this
fine.
gap. And XTXP as well is in a bit of a troublesome situation.
Yeah, well, I think he'll be okay. He's actually all right. He can warm these tires a little bit. He can push. Because you have a chicane. Alrighty. Papa, in charge of this grid. The safety car is saying goodbye. We are going to go green flag racing. Lap 12. Papa, Polypunk, Matt, your top three. And here goes Papa. He's gone, and it's Polypunk playing anchor potentially here at the rear. Lars has had, well, what has happened to him? Why on earth was he pulled off on the inside? He just dropped a number of positions there. Very, very interesting to see that. Trick Sam on the hunt for Big Turbina right now as we come up Eau Rouge through Radion. He's looking real hungry. My, oh my, was it ever slow for the Red Bull coming up the hill. Wheel to wheel, super noodle bagel, 3-second time penalty in. He is dropping down this timing tower as Matt and Grenade exchange just ahead. And that is not what you want to find. Unfortunate for the AlphaTauri.
As we look back, the bottom of the points, P9, P10, heavily contested, blind under pressure from Shadrin, who's got PW Jones on his gearbox as well as they come out of turn 11. But not too much drama on the safety car restart. A couple of mishaps for the likes of Lars and the early stages, and Super Noodle as well. But now everyone getting back into the rhythm of racing. We're just over that halfway point now as well. Someone who needs to push here at this stint, IDJ on these softs. He needs to try and break away. He's putting a nice gap behind him. He needs to start catching the Big Turbina, stay with the DRS range, get past the Red Bull on the hards and then push through, because he's going to have to stop again in this race at some point.
Shadron on a move for Blind right now. A big lunge coming out of the Red Bull. Blind under threat right now from Jones as Bakla looks at Jones as well. He gets tied up on the inside a little bit. Blind losing out that position from Shadrin, but that was a major, major dive there. Trick Sam now putting Matt under major pressure, mediums versus hards, and we've seen Matt dropping on this tire. It's very unfortunate to see after a stellar drive he's had in the opening phase, but here it is now, wheel-to-wheel Trick Sam flying into fourth position ahead of the Haas.
Yeah, really nice move there, and Matt on these hards, well, the bad luck that he got put on those is really costing him here. Blind as well, losing out on the hards. The Williams gets passed by Jones, and he's got Bakalu all over his rear, but doesn't find a way through, almost loses the Aston Martin. Kieran as well, putting pressure on Undertaker. All of these drivers on the hards struggling massively right now. Kieran on the inside of Undertaker, trying to find a way through on turn 10 around the outside now of 11. Who gets the better traction? The mediums are affording Kieran just a little bit more traction, but Undertaker in a straight line, absolutely breezing back through, but Kieran braver on the brakes around the outside. And now ERS yet again from Undertaker.
Oh no! XTXP on the inside has taken the pair of them. Kieran and Undertaker getting loose. Holy! Really loose for Undertaker now. Lars pushes through.
Yeah, that was almost very, very bad for the pair of them.
XTXP
gotten away with it.
XTXP was very, very, very daring there to kind of get involved in that fight that was in a very shaky section of circuit. Baklalu now. Baklau pushing. Blind. Yeah, he's lost that position. Big Turbina DJ through turn 1 right now. Big Turbina losing out a position to DJ. IDJ into 6th.
Yeah, I said he needed to catch it. It has cost him to the cars ahead though, and Kane isn't too far behind either, but the AlphaTauri really needs to push it. Kane now looking at Big Turbina. He's pushing ERS, DRS open. Big Turbina has DRS on IDJ though, who might lose the position to the Red Bull and the McLaren as well. So it was 1 position gained. It's now 2 lost for the AlphaTauri.
That's just the strength of DRS, and Big Turbina right now, he is the one that's poised to fail. However, Kane could be, well, a driver that slows down DJ here. He's on the softs, and, well, we want to see that soft runner leading potentially the medium runner, then the hard runner, not what we see now, which is the reversal of that.
Yeah, like you said, DRS really playing a major role in those overtakes. As you know, DJ on these softs, he will have a bit extra pace. He's just not able to quite find it. There's a problem behind Shadrin, just letting his car roll off the track here to get out of the way of the fast movers. The Red Bull facing the wrong way as he comes through 13, 14. And that's very unfortunate as he drops to the rear of things.
Good tight battles still unfolding on this circuit right now. Everybody's pit in this race. We're on lap 14 out of 22, about to be 15 as Papa and Polypunk, the two Ferraris, are leading this race on lap 15. Grenade Garan within their range as well. 1.5 seconds is the separation between the podium runners and Mr. Trixam in the McLaren. 1.5 seconds, of course. Matt just dancing in and around that DRS range. He'll want to have it as he comes up Eau Rouge through Radion, but I don't know if he's going to have it. Oh, he will. So that's good for him. Kane now hunting down Big Turbina. We saw some battling through here before. Papa and Polypunk, the teammates, they exchange. Here goes Kane outside for him in the McLaren. Does he have enough space to get the move done in Turbina? Yes, he does. And how's this exposed Mr. Turbina to DJ? Not enough. Excuse me. It might just be enough. DJ looking for the outside. A little bit later on the brakes.
Yeah, very tough. I thought he was going to look for a switch back there. It just didn't present itself. Meanwhile, up at the front, you mentioned Polypunk exchanged with his teammate, and I think they're working together. They do seem to do quite well. Grenade is catching them slowly, so they can't afford, any mismanagement of the roles there. But right now they are holding 1 and 2, and Grenade is having to push a little bit with ERS. He's used a lot more battery than both the Ferraris just to keep up with them. Trixam, he's being left behind a little bit. He's now starting to push. As there's a yellow flag is out for Romeo. It's Undertaker in the gravel. And that's both Alpha Romeos out of the points. Obviously, Disaster coming off throw Rouge earlier and now retired out of the race.
We're going to see a move here. DJ hunting Turbina. Turbina dropping just in and outside of that 1 second range of Kane. And this is crucial for DJ's race to get through on that Red Bull and hold pace with the McLaren. Right now into turn 1, we've seen DJ take some opportunities. Does he have a good enough exit here? DRS on the rear wing, but it's just not enough of an exit to bring him for that inside move or that outside move into turn 1. Kane, has he had enough of a gap over Turbina? It's tight. Let's see here as we come through the DRS detection. I don't believe there was enough there for Turbina. I think DJ is going to get him. Let's see how the run goes. DRS is online, and that is no rear wing wide open for the Red Bull. Here goes DJ pushing through on the inside of Kemmel, and it's going to be a clear-cut move for the Alpha Tower into 7th position now. Just behind, Blind and Lars. Team exchange for the Williams.
Yeah, really nothing Big Turbina could do there. Having lost out on DRS, we stated its importance earlier on. Now, of course, it doesn't have it to defend the move, but IDJ able to just slip through there up into 7th. And again, this is some important points for the Alpha Tauri, not just on an individual basis, but for the team as well, as there's a problem for the sister team. It's Shadrin again facing the wrong way. The Red Bull really struggling here. Not too long to go. Lap 16 of 22. 6 laps to go.
It's been a great race, I'd have to say overall. It's been a calm race, I think, considering some of the races we've seen in Tier 4 previously in the season. This is our 4th round, of course.
Yeah, I think Spa just lends itself to a little bit of a calmer race in terms of how well the grid can split off in different chunks. We see it at other tracks, but given this one's so long, that tends to sort of just make those gaps be a little bit worse than they usually are. And obviously that means, there's nothing like traffic, no back markers, etc. And if there is, well, the people at the back are having a real bad time. Here go the two Ferraris again, just calmly exchanging, trying not to cost themselves any real time to Grenade, who is still struggling to keep up. Polypunk now, he's used a lot of his ERS. That I assume they're now going to let Papa do sort of the
DJ Turbina.
Turbina and DJ. Oh, DJ's around.
No.
That is not what you want to see for the AlphaTauri. Oh my goodness, he's just trying to get out of the way here because he's in a really dangerous spot. He just about avoids everyone else, but the AlphaTauris, they were both in the points at one point. The other one now dropping to Undertaker, who comes to on the inside of Super Noodle, but it's now 14th to 16th. And the AlphaTauri squad, they might leave here with just the 6 points of the constructors that they came here with.
That was so unfortunate to see. They were having a good battle. DJ, Big Turbina, not sure what happened. It might have just been a touch of wheel contact there.
Grenade, he's really yo-yoing on the back of the two Ferraris. It was over a second behind going down the Camel Straight. He's now almost within half a second of Polypunk here, and the Ferraris, they're not struggling to keep him at bay, but they just seem to not be able to pull away completely from the Haas driver. Papa, fastest lap of the race. But there is DRS now for the Haas driver behind, and he's looking to come to the podium with them. It's just a case of, can he step one step higher than one, if not two of them, when the checker flag waves?
Well, not a lot of battery right now being utilized, and there's no clear-cut push from, of course, Grenade. You're seeing Polypunk utilize his battery on the rear of his teammate, and now Polypunk pushing through on Papa. And I don't understand the utilization of the battery there. Papa's not using battery, Polypunk is. Here he goes, Lars, a big lunge on Kieran. Man, I caught that just in the nick of time as it's 11th for the Williams. That was a big lunge
here. It's not going to be for very long.
No, he went wide.
Kieran just comes straight back through, and there's a bit of contact as Lars goes late on the brakes. Trying to find that place back. Not going to happen, though, for the Williams. As Polypunk, what's happened? He's facing the wrong way in the barrier.
Oh no, the Ferraris are not going to be happy about that. Tons of gravel as well. He's trying to get back on track. Who's that pushing through? That's Jones getting 7th position. Now Grenade really in a position to play some games with these Ferraris. This is a big duel.
Struggling, he's off again. His tires are gone, and one person who'll be happy about this, Disaster. 3rd in the championship. This is a big blow to his points, but Polypunk now going to join him in no points scored here tonight. Grenade Goran, though. What does this mean for his Drivers' Championship if he can wrap it up with a huge haul of points? And also, Papa, he's no longer got a teammate to work with here.
Yeah, this is really this has really hurt the Ferrari. Really hurt the Ferrari here. Oh, Grenade! How has he managed to get that slowed down enough not to take a major retirement? Matt is now into 3rd position. The Haas's dreams went from a possible win to a podium position as Grenade has dropped 4 seconds on the rear of these racers now in the provisional podium places. Trick Sam, 2 seconds on the rear of Papa, and Polypunk just took 5. Well, he took 5 for speeding, but we know what that usually follows or proceeds, and of course it's a retirement from him, and that's very unfortunate to see after a very good race.
Yeah, and I wonder whether this is maybe the medium's getting a little bit worn, because, you know, that's what we're potentially seeing here. And if that's the case, well, maybe Matt was saved by the fact that he didn't get put on hard by mediums. He got put on hard instead, because now he's on the rear of Trick Sam. If there is going to be a drop off for the mediums in the last few laps here, can the Haas driver find his way through on the McLaren? And if Papa has a mistake similar to his teammates, similar to Grenade, well, that's going to be, you know, even better news for Matt. Grenade managed to save it. Not only did he get no damage, but he's still in 4th place. So his championship hopes are still very much alive. Papa, though, if he finishes here, going to be really well brought into the fold in the run for lead of things. And Ferrari as well will extend their lead at the top of the constructor standings as well. But again, well, with the spins we're seeing, the medium runners may be facing some hardships here, given their tyre choice. We'll see what transpires in the last 3 laps, if you include this one.
Well, Matt's going to have that DRS on Trick Sam. He's not utilizing any battery right now to push this overtake. But you can just see the speed carry on the rear of that McLaren with that DRS and utilization. Now Lars, he has a very clear-cut opportunity here, as we saw him previously kind of run at Kieran. We saw him overtake into Lacombe. Are we going to see it again? He's going to have that outside line here. DRS, battery. Smooth move. A lot smoother than I think the last time we saw them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kieran's not going to have the opportunity to go back up the inside into 10 as well. So, like you say, much smoother, much cleaner. And both drivers, I think, will be glad about that one. Matt's still trying to put pressure on Trixam here for potentially P2. There goes Lars and Kieran, both picking up a 3-second time penalty. And well, this fight very even in terms of the last point. Although Lars with the 3-lap older tyres, and Kieran, well, he's got 6 seconds more penalties than the Alpine. That was Lars's first. It was Kieran's 3rd penalty of the evening. Jones very close to Big Tabina, and does he find anything into the bus stop chicane? Perhaps he has a little look, but it's not going to be for the Mercedes at this stage. Not going to risk it on the Red Bull yet. The leaders have crossed on to the penultimate lap of the race, 21 of 22. And it all comes down to these last 2 laps.
Turbina.
Can Matt find a way through Trixam?
A little bit of a slip for Turbina coming out of turn 1 here. Might give Jones what he needs. It really, really might. I don't know if we're going to see it. Trick Sam right now. Matt pushing. Not enough. It's not enough just yet. But it's really getting there. Nothing for Jones yet on Big Turbina. I think you're right.
For next lap.
I think you're right about the hards overall. I think that they just might be showing a bit more grip right now, but they're not necessarily showing the level of grip required to bring that clear-cut differential where you're overtaking these drivers.
Yeah, and I should think that, you know, the drivers who have gone on the hards, gone on the mediums here, they'll share what they found here.
Trick Sam just took 3 seconds. Matt is within 3 seconds. That is a potential P2. That is a potential P2, ladies and gentlemen, for the Haas driver that started this race in 2nd position. And man, has it been a turbulent drive.
Absolutely, and well, if he gets P2, I'm sure I'll be very, very thrilled with it, given the circumstances of the disconnection under the safety car, the fact that he got put on hards when he wanted the mediums. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise. We're on the last lap of the race, and this really is do or die. Bacalou getting through on XTXP. Well, he started this race in dead last. He's up into the points, and I'm sure the Alpine squad will be very happy about that, but the softs now starting to become a little bit too far stretched to the end of this campaign.
Here goes Jones.
Just needs to bring it home now.
Jones on the rear of Turbina. Turbina just took a penalty. Jones now, this is no question an overtake coming out of the Mercedes here. DRS wide open. Turbina has nothing to say against it. And now it's going to be 6th position for the Mercedes as we've got a retirement. That's Kieran. That's right, coming up through Eau Rouge and Radeon, and Kieran is out of this race on the final lap of the race, ladies and gentlemen, and that is not good if you're a Mercedes at all. Here comes Undertaker breezing by DJ on the hards right now as the softs surely not giving DJ the grip he once had to them, and of course not having that position he was in with those either. Papa, a solid run here in the Ferrari, leading this race now, 2.2 seconds the gap for him as Trick Sam has a penalty. Matt in 3rd position is looking like he's going to bring it home where he started things in 2nd position. Trick Sam not at risk from grenade due to the penalty that he has, and I think it just may be the top 3 that we see right now on the podium steps with a swap coming from the 2 and 3 drivers. Papa now in a Ferrari Unicorn. He takes the win. He takes the checkered flag. It's going to be the McLaren second to the line, and something has happened here as Matt has not jumped him on the timing tower. And we have Papa, Trick Sam, and Matt, our top 3, as we had the desync, I think, with Matt in that safety car, probably dropping him back a position. Kene, 4th, Grenade in 5th. Jones finishes 6th here. 7th is for the Red Bull squad for Big Turbina. XTXP from the rear of this grid finishes 8th after a very up and down drive, an unfortunate qualifying. Baklu, 9th. Lars, 10th. Blind, 11th. And we have Undertaker, DJ, and Super Noodle as well for this one. Kieran, that unfortunate crash on the final lap through a Rouge. Polypunk, Shadran, Four-Door, Disaster, and Becario on the grid today. And wow, what a race that was, Unicorn. What a race.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, I think we are, like you say, Matt is P2, the desync there, costing him his 2nd place, but, a podium, whichever way you look at it, and Papa P1, the Ferrari, after his teammate couldn't do it. Well, it's been 4 races now, 3 of them won by a Ferrari, both of them getting on that top spot this week for the first time, though it is Papa, and he'll be very, very happy. They extend their lead at the top of the standings, but Haas, though, catching up, and it's going to be a very, very close, not only drivers, but constructors championship as well to the end for these 2 teams. McLaren as well. You can't understate how well they were doing in this race at points, and Trick Sam obviously had various problems. He got relegated from 2nd on the grid to 7th place. He fights all the way back from that 5th place grid penalty back up into P2, but it's Papa who wins. Trick Sam, well, P2 right now, but we do believe Matt should be in 2nd place with the penalties applied. Then Kene and the other McLaren, P2 and P4, well, I think it's 3rd and 4th. Well, the McLaren's got great drives for both of them to climb back through this field. Grenade Goran, a bit of a spin through a Rouge, but no damage means he drops from the podium fight into P5, but still strong points for the championship leader. And given that his 2 biggest rivals both failed to score here, means that he extends his lead at the top. And I'm sure he'll be thankful that his mistake wasn't more costly here. But we'll get interviews going in just a few moments with the top 3, hopefully. And well, we hope you stick around for those. And of course, we'll be rating a member of the F1 community here on Twitch as well.
I'm very thrilled to talk to our podium finishers. We're going to speak in order, of course, of the classification to our finishers, which means we are going to kick off with Mr. Matt in the Haas. Matt, welcome to the commentary booth. Welcome to the podium. You started in 2nd position. You were looking like you were going to take 2nd position, and you might just have. But of course, it's a podium nonetheless. 3rd at the moment. How are you feeling? Spa, what a circuit, what a drive.
Rather sweaty. It's pretty warm. But yeah, it was a good fun race. And shame the game screwed me over, because when there was a safety car, I had medium selected and it put me on hard. And then under safety car after my game crash, and lost 3 positions because of that. And but luckily people had pens and grenade. Sadly, grenade span, but luckily pulley span. I'm waffling out. And so yeah, I feel like I could have won if I didn't get screwed over by the game. But it's what it is.
It was a good drive nonetheless, and it's unfortunate when those network issues unfold, or those game issues unfold, of course. But it's good points for the Haas team. How does this prepare you for our next round of racing ahead for round 5?
What track's it at?
I believe that one is at Italy.
Monza. I've got no idea. I haven't done any Monza on this game, so I've got no clue how my pace is going to be.
Well, any shout out for our viewers?
Shout out to Dason, please speak.
Dason, please speak. There you have it. Well, Matt, congratulations on the podium, and well, we'll see you next week for Monza.
Thank you. See you. Cheers.
All right, that was, of course, Mr. Matt, and now we're going to speak to Trick Sam. Trick Sam, welcome to the commentary booth. Second position or potentially third for you. What a race in the end. It was really, really something to watch. We had that safety car. We saw a lot of fighting, some drivers spinning, some drivers involved in some unfortunate stuff. But you managed to come through under the podium. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm quite happy because obviously last race I got pole and then I crashed from a fault of my own, and I was pretty annoyed and I wanted to come back today, and I've done pretty well and I'm pretty happy with my results, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a great result and in what was a very tight race as well. Belgium, always a circuit that applies in itself just some pressure. Unicorn, how did you feel about Trick Sam's drive today, and any questions for our podium finisher?
Yeah, well, Trick Sam, you mentioned that you wanted to redeem yourself here. You had to after qualifying. Just talk us through qualifying. Obviously, there was that incident that picked you up the 5-place grid penalty. What sort of happened there? I don't think we caught it on our end, but obviously it cost you a little bit. You were able to fight back the positions, but in the race. But just talk us about the qualifying.
So I took a lap quite late because I got an invalidation on my first lap on my flying run, and I had to get back to the pits quickly, otherwise I wouldn't have made it for my last flying lap, and I was on my way to start my flying lap, and the Aston Martin, the reserve driver today, on the back straight, he went to get out the way to the left, and I thought he was just going to stay there and let me go past, but he didn't, and he came back across me and he took me out, and I got a 5-place grid penalty for it and wasn't able to start my last lap, which was quite annoying because I thought I might have been able to steal a pole from Polypunk, but it is what it is, and I'm happy that I came back.
Well, obviously, Pete, you were second fastest in qualifying, and obviously that showed you great pace. And then in the race, you carved your way back through the grid field. Obviously, there were a few mistakes higher up the grid, but did you always think, well, I qualified highly, obviously I've been dropped down a bit, but I can carve my way up to the front, or were you a bit disheartened after qualifying?
After qualifying, I was pretty annoyed. I may have chucked my headset onto the ground, but I just went downstairs and cooled down and then came back up, and Brownie, my engineer today, helped me very much, which I'm very happy about and pleased with, and I've thanked him a lot, and I was just like, I just need to cool down, focus, and get that position back, which I think I deserved, and I've done that, so.
Well, Trick Sam, congratulations. A great result for you, a great result for the team as well. Huge points for McLaren, so congratulations, and we'll see you next week in Monza.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trick Sam. That was a great race for Trick Sam in the end, and I have to say it was, you said redemption. He needed that after qualifying, a bit of frustration there, but it really came through. He gave a shout out to Brownie there, who we've known as, he's been quite a useful engineer through a lot of MRL races, and so big shout out to Brownie. I can see you there in the chat, and you just love to see those dynamics come through, people helping each other out, setups, practice, tracks. That's what we love to see here. We like to hear things like that. Spa presenting a very good first race today for the division of, well, Season 5, we'll say. America's Tier 2 tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That is going to be at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. for those of you in the UK or in Europe, respectively. And with that, well, I'll be commentating that solo or potentially with someone else tonight. We'll see if we can get a special guest in on the mix. But, Unicorn, as always, a thrill to commentate Tier 4 action with you. Any last words before we round things out with a raid and our outro?
Yeah, absolutely, Shiv. You said it. Great start to the week for Spa. A couple of the top drivers of the championship finding themselves pointsless after that one, and we'll see whether that trend continues. A few, dark horses maybe coming throughout the rest of the week. Obviously, like you said, America's tonight and all the other tiered divisions throughout the week. So we'll see how it goes. But until next time, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate your patience at the start with the lobby issues, etc. We always thank you guys for that kind of support, and we appreciate it all. But join us for a raid in the F1 community. Take it easy, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.